If I sell my home, where do I live? That's one of the most common questions we're getting from sellers right now, so we're gonna talk about it right now. Hey y'all, it's me, Melanie Baran with JL Wyatt Properties, myhomeinhouston.com. And I'm here to help you answer the question if you're considering selling, where do I live? Sellers are really worried about this question, but they also know if they're trying to buy their next home, that a lot of times they don't want to have a sales contingency on the offer they're putting in. That may make their offer weaker than someone else who doesn't have that sales contingency. So we're going to talk about it. First, let's have a little brief interlude. What is a sales contingency? That's when you're offering on your next home and you say, we can offer all of these things on the contingency or on the condition that we sell the home that we're in. A lot of times when it's not this heavy tilted market towards the sellers, a lot of times that's a really common thing. But right now, a lot of times sellers for that next home are getting offers that don't have that contingency. It makes the deal much more secure, and so they're choosing those offers over offers that are great but do have that sales contingency. So how do we go ahead and sell your home as a seller and make sure you're not homeless? The first option, really popular right now, sellers are having great success negotiating this, is a seller leaseback. This is where you sell your home, you go ahead and close the deal, but part of that contract that you negotiated and your agent negotiated with the buyer is that you're gonna want a leaseback. You're gonna wanna live in your home for 60 more days after the closing of the deal so that you have more time to go ahead, wrap up that deal, and then offer on the home that you want with no contingency because you already sold your home. That's becoming a really popular option, and even it's pretty common right now for sellers to say, hey, we're gonna need a 60-day free lease back. Now, you might wanna go ahead and put in a deposit, or the buyer might ask you for a deposit, and that's really out of the protection of everyone because it does turn it into a rental situation. But asking for and telling buyers agents, if you want to win this home, you're going to have to offer a lease back, is a really strong and popular move right now. Option 2 is to go for a short-term rental. I mean, we live in the world of Airbnb, right? So even just looking in some options around the Pearland, Houston area, there are monthly rentals that go for, $1,500, $2,000, $3,000. If you're listing and selling your home and you end up getting $15,000 over asking price, it's not necessarily going to be that big of a deal if you've made $15,000 over what you thought you would, to maybe spend $3,000 to go ahead and do a short-term rental until you find the place that you need. It may be a short-term rental that's smaller than you're used to, but like I said, it could end up being a really great experience for your family, getting closer together and then moving all into your big new home together. Another option is going to be living with family. Now, this is contingent on whether or not you have family nearby and whether or not that's going to be a conflict-free or a low-conflict situation for you. So this isn't the right fit for all sellers, but it is the right fit for some sellers. If you are considering selling and you may need to live with a sibling or a parent for a few months, have that conversation with them. Don't assume what the answer will be until you have the conversation. But also make sure that you don't get your feelings hurt if the answer is no. It just may not be the right fit for everyone. But if it's the right fit for you, it is a situation to consider. And then the fourth one is the more traditional route. Don't sell until you have your next home in place. Now, this can be kind of tricky if you're working with those sales contingencies, but it's not impossible even in this seller-heavy situation. You're going to want to work with a listing agent like me to make sure that we are buying your new home in a smart way that's going to protect you as much as possible. And you can put in that offer with that sales contingency. So that is there, and that really is the more traditional route that we've seen in markets that are more balanced, is sellers putting in an offer on their next home saying, hey, under the contingency or under the condition that we sell the home that we're in. But if you think it's the right time for you to sell and there are other options that work for you aside from making sure you have your next home in line right away, then it's a great time to consider those options. Those options are seller leaseback, negotiating that with the buyer that is buying your home, short-term rental, Airbnb, VRBO. Go in your neighborhood group and say, hey, who has a short-term rental? Because some of your neighbors do have those kinds of things. And number 3, it may be an option for you to live with family for a short period of time. If you have any questions about leasebacks, short-term rentals, anything like that that I can help you with selling your home, even if you don't have a contract on the one you're going to buy, make sure that you go ahead and drop a question in the comments. I will come back to you, answer it as soon as possible, and I hope something really great happens to you today.